Hi guys! So if you want to learn some tips that might help you study throughout the nursing school, stay tuned. First off, these are just my personal opinions and my study techniques on how I survived nursing school. And this video is in collaboration with Justine. She's also an LPN like me, and she's a mama of 3, so you could just imagine how hard it is for her to go throughout nursing school with 3 kids. I know, I don't know if I could have done it. I mean, I didn't have kids when I was going through nursing school, and I was very overwhelmed. So Justin, kudos to you for going through nursing school with 3 little kids. First of all, I didn't study at home. When I would try to study at home, I would find a lot of things distracting. Like, instead of studying, I would start doing laundry, I would start cooking, and I would start cleaning a little bit. Or sometimes I would just be completely lazy and lay in bed or lay in the couch and watch TV. So what I would do is I will wake up first thing in the morning. I won't even eat at home, because as soon as I eat breakfast at home, I would say, oh, I'll just sit down. Next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I haven't done anything. So what I would do first in the morning, I get out of bed, I take a shower, I leave the house. I just take a big jug of water with me because I'm a thirsty girl. But so I would leave the house and I would go to the library. I would stop at Starbucks. And get coffee and a little bit of breakfast. And sometimes actually I would pack up my own lunch or breakfast and I would go straight to the library. And I would bring all my books, my computer, and just pound it through the library. I would find a little cubby in the library and study throughout the day, because if I'm just sitting in that one desk, I know I can really focus, and I try not to look on my phone when I'm at the library, because if I look on my phone, I would get distracted with looking at Facebook or Instagram. So I try to put my phone away on silent and put it in my purse. But I mean, I can understand if I was a mom back then, I probably wouldn't put my cell phone on silent mode, because I mean, things happen. They might need you in the house with your kids. But in my case, I was able to put my phone in silent and just power through studying. So as soon as I get to the library, I get out all my stuff, I put my coffee, everything. It's just like it's my own little tiny apartment for the day. And another tip though is I will bring a little blanket, because it gets a little cold in the library. Or sometimes, I mean, the library I used to go to, their chairs just hard wood, no cushion whatsoever. So I would bring a little blanket and put it in there, because I know I'm gonna be there for a long haul, and I don't wanna sit in a hard surface for a long period of time. Well, when I need to memorize things, I find it very helpful to write the sentence you're trying to memorize, or the paragraph, or say a drug and what it does and what the adverse effect and stuff like that. I find it very helpful if I write that drug down and write a little like 1-sentence description and also 1-sentence adverse effect, and I write it over and over and over again. What I would do is I would get a blank piece of paper and I would just write it over and over and over and again. I know it's very time consuming, but in my case it helped tremendously. That's how I was able to breeze through pharmacology. Is I write down the drug, I write down what it does, and I write down the adverse effects. And I sometimes will do like a little bit of like story around, and not too much story, because you can just make stories about everything, because it's very time consuming. I would tie up a memory, like a little bit of memory with that drug, and then that's the way I would remember it faster. And if I can't tie anything down story-wise or whatever with that drug, I would just, like what I said, I would write the drug, over and over and over and over and over again. And then I would write it again the following morning. The very first thing when I wake up in the morning is I would do this. Say this day I have to memorize 10 drugs and what they do and their side adverse effects. So I would memorize 10 drugs today, write it over and over and over and over again in one piece of paper. And the very following day when I wake up, I would do the same thing. First thing in the morning. I haven't even put my contacts on or brushed my teeth. That's what I would do first thing in the morning. Another thing that helped me is putting little tabs on the book to find to get to the information I needed faster. I find that helpful because I don't need what I did is I color coded a lot of chapters, and then I know say cardiac meds, say heart meds, I know what tab to pull it from, and it's just an organization in my head. If I don't do that, I find myself being really all over the place and confused, and the little tabs in the book just really helps me. And also a lot of my friends in nursing school, their to-go-to is flashcards. In my case, flashcards was not helpful whatsoever. Flashcards just confused the heck out of me. And I don't like little pieces and then you just take it. It doesn't work for me. Another study tip that I did was I made friends in nursing school. You have to make friends in nursing school because otherwise you won't survive. So I would find those key people that I would study with. So what we would do before we get to the class, every time we have an exam, we would meet up before class for at least an hour or two prior to the class, and we would quiz each other. I would have a set of questions to ask them, and they would do the same with me. They would have a set of questions, different questions, and we would just keep throwing questions and answers to each other. I'm not talking about a big group of people. I'm talking like 3 or 4 people in that group, and then you would just basically throw questions to each other. And then it's actually good because before you get to the exam, before you get to your classroom, it's so fresh in your mind, and sometimes just talking it out loud with somebody else really makes it stick to your head, that rather than just reading it by yourself, book by book or notes by notes. If you're talking to somebody question by question and they're answering it the way you won't answer it, for some reason, to me, that really sticks in my brain. And I would suggest you guys find key people that study similar to how you would study. I wouldn't suggest you finding a person that has a way complete out of your comfort zone way of studying, because then that might just really confuse you. Or maybe not. Maybe it will really stick to your brain, however they do their study guides, or however they review prior to the exam. Another thing that I did in nursing school is I don't have it anymore. I actually don't know where it went. I bought a recorder. It's a teeny tiny thing, and I would put it on my desk. I don't know if your school policy will allow it, but I did ask my teacher if I could record her while she does her lecture, so I can go back to it later. I bought a little vocal recorder, and I tried to sit in front of the classroom, and I would just put it right next to my notebook, and I don't know if it's time consuming or not, but to me it was helpful. I would record everything that the teacher says for that lecture that day, and when I'm at the library, I would play it over and over to me, and I would write it down. Because when you're in the classroom, you can't always write down everything that the teacher says. You forget a lot of things, and you can't write down everything. So it's good to go back to the recorded voice that you have. And sometimes even I would, instead of listening music in the car, I would listen to the recording. So I feel like I'm having another lecture in my car, and it's a similar lecture that you got the day before or a week before, and it just refreshes your head of what the lecture was about regarding that topic. And a lot of people won't probably find that useful, but hey, if that works for you, nursing school is no joke. It's tough. It's really tough, especially with people with kids. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine. And I'm actually trying to go back to school right now, but well, first of all, a little story. When I graduated with my LPN, I went back to school right away, but I was just burnt out. I was just so exhausted. I couldn't even look at another book. I finished school in April, and by the time it was summer, I went back and took some classes. And I just remember the whole time I was in school during that summer, I was just so miserable. And I just felt like I need a break, and I need a break. So after that summer, I took a break. It was supposed to be 1 semester break. And we started traveling a lot. We started making a lot of plans for travel. And every time I was supposed to go back in January, every single time I would try to enroll, I would think about our plans. Oh, we have to go there. We have all these travel plans for the year. And me going back to school was put in the back burner, which was a big mistake. If I could go back 2 years ago, I would have gone back straight to school to get my RN and continue on with my BSN. But I didn't do that. For the last 2 years, we were too busy living our lives, traveling all over the place, and just having fun and working and having fun and working and having fun. Which I don't regret it, but I could have been a little smarter and went back to school, because I would have been done by now. And now we have a baby, and I'm ready to go back, but now I have this 5-month-old that, I mean, I know people do it. My husband helps a lot, but if I have more help, I probably would be able to go back to school. But I think I'm gonna wait 1 more year till my son is a little bigger. And if I get pregnant by then, that's fine. I still can go back to school. And for you people that's about to graduate with your LPN, I highly suggest that you go straight back to school right after, or don't even take a break, because it's really, once you get to nursing school, is very tedious. It's very hard and it's very stressful. Once you get through that cycle of studying, of you're just in that mode of study, sleep, study, sleep, study, sleep, study, or work. Some people work, and I was working part-time at the time. But I would say that once you're in that cycle of just studying, once you're in that mode, just keep on it. Just keep at it and just keep studying till you're completely done. Because once you get out of that mental state, once you take a break, it's so hard to get back to it. I look at it as when you're working out, when you're currently in the middle of working out. It's the first few weeks is the hardest, but once you're in that cycle of working out, it gets easier. Then once you get out, it's harder to get back again. And that's the same with studying in nursing school, or maybe that's the same with studying in any kind of school. But I would highly suggest, especially if you're young, just keep going. And next thing you know, you're graduating and time flies. So I hope you guys find this little chit chat helpful. Again, I'm doing this in collaboration with Justine. She's a mom of 3, and she powered through nursing school with 3 kids. So if she can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So I hope you guys like it. And if you did, I would love for you guys to hit subscribe on the bottom, and I will see you later. Thanks.